What's up, Gloucester Township? I'm Joe Allen. Here with Keith Gibbons. Powerful intro.
Yeah, that was powerful.
There's a lot going on in that intro right there.
It was. I just saw at the very end there, you had Donald Norcross. I just saw him today down in Camden.
Donald, yeah, he's
got his suit on.
He's the polished puppet.
Yeah,
from the master.
Yep. We got Gracie here with us.
Got Gracie. Gracie's back.
She'll be here staring at me all
she's gonna
podcast, licking my arms.
Stare the entire time, apparently.
But yeah, we have a lot to go over today. The recap is about the I forget the date of it, but the
March 25th.
Yeah, so that was the MUA bombshell that fell on us. That said, oh yeah, we're gonna be selling.
Yeah, this came out of nowhere. Like, this came out on, I think, Friday. Like, Friday, somebody checked the agenda and then said they're going to sell the MUA.
Yep.
And then they put it on Facebook, and it went crazy.
Yeah, I did it first thing in the morning. I put it up there, and then next thing, and then that's how the MUA guys found out about it from the Observer's, post that was up there. There was a lot of efforts put together with getting signs out, people on the corners of streets, with letting people know MUA's for sale and trying to get as many people out and aware of what's going on in town as we
people
can.
did signs. People did the handwritten signs, and they were out on the streets doing that. Because I saw on Facebook that the people like, what's that person on the street?
Right. Well,
sign?
How else are you supposed to in this town get any kind of word out to to anybody? You don't have any way to do it other than protesting out on the street corner or a podcast about it or a post on Facebook or we're very limited in our ability to get the message out. So it was great to see people actually came out. I mean, obviously the MUA guys that are their jobs are on the line kind of here in this, they came out in support and told people, but it's an effort that we all need to get the word out there.
Yeah, you really do. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we talk about is it's kind of political, but it's also, in our opinions, the best for the township. This seems like 100% non-political, but definitely the best thing for the township would be to fight against this. So this,
yeah, I mean, since it's come up, I mean, I heard just like probably anybody else, about it, but didn't know much about it. And you yourself were saying today you spent hours looking up trying to find a positive to be the because we try to be as fair as possible on here, and you're trying to find a positive to this, and you could not really find anything.
Yeah, so we thought about there are several people that we know that have either gone through this before, fought against it before, or work for municipal utilities.
Right.
And there was a potential that we were going to have them on the podcast, and I thought, I really want to go the route of let's find the positives about going privatization for different things. Let me find the good stuff, and I'll be the guy that brings up the good stuff about it.
Right.
And after 2 hours, I really, there are reasons to go private.
We're not in any of those states
we don't have any of those reasons.
Right.
So it was really tough to kind of come up with that angle. And, unfortunately with some scheduling conflicts, we couldn't get somebody here. Other people obviously
have a couple different people, and it was
lives on, people have lives on Friday nights, and this will be released on Monday, but this is recorded on a Friday night, earthquake night, by the way, if you want to remember back to when this all happened. So so to kick off this council meeting, so we do these ceremonies before council meetings.
Oh,
every I am, man, because every month, every month it's a different. We're celebrating different things every month, and there's these hour-long ceremonies before the council meetings. And
sometimes they're more than an hour. I've seen them go 2 hours.
Yeah, sometimes we get out of there at like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And this is 7:30 start time. And I'm not saying that these are this doesn't seem to be a good setting for this. Take into consideration, there are at least probably 40 guys in the audience that just found out a few days ago that they are potentially going to lose their jobs. And they have to, and so they show up at a council meeting to find out what's going on, because they have no communication to let them know this other than Facebook.
Yeah, they found out from our post online on Facebook.
So they show up, and obviously they're concerned, but they're upset, and they have to sit through an hour of award ceremonies before the council meeting. So while look, the people that got the awards, they are some amazing people. They've done some amazing things. And that goes for
they deserve it. I don't like having to sit through it if there's a reason, that I'm there for other than that. But at the same time, I don't know how else do you suggest them to celebrate those kinds of things? And the reason I say, for school board meetings, we have what we call star students in the beginning of the, also, let me go back and say everything that I say is my own opinion and not that of any position I may hold. Is that not, we don't have our little disclaimer thing?
I screwed it up.
But anyway, at the school board meetings, there's a time to recognize students, and we recognize a different group of students for different things, different teachers, whatever it is at the beginning of it. But it's like a 15-minute, 10-minute, long thing. It's not literally, I mean, I think I've seen one almost 2 hours long, before that just goes on and on and on. And there's business that needs to get done that it wouldn't be so bad if you were also, as the public, when you're going to be able to question council, given the same, okay, time, we're here to serve you guys. We're here to recognize these people. We're here to serve you. We will also extend the amount of time, that's given. And it's not a two-way street. You're going to sit through whatever ceremony is going on for this week here. But when it comes time to do business, we're sticking to the to this here. And this was actually brought up in the beginning of this meeting. So after the ceremony and the first public portion was for the agenda items only. I guess what was that, clip 1 that we had here? But Ray asks a question. Hey, can we extend this? There's a lot of people interested in what this the public meeting is for, not for the ceremony. It's here to get business done for the town.
Yeah.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro from the Historic Village of Ariel. I'll ask Council President, in the event that more hands are raised for this public portion, you would more than consider extending this public portion.
We have a 15-minute public portion for agenda items, and we also have a 30-minute portion when anyone can speak upon it. This is a matter that's going to be ongoing for some.
Before you vote, if you see more hands raised, it would be nice if you would extend that period, please.
Keep it at 15 minutes. I just asked that anyone who has comments, keep their comments.
So you don't want to hear from, rather not hear from the public. Okay, thank you. We'll move on.
Before we go on, lost the clock. If a question is going to be asked from the public and you want to respond back, please allow the speaker, whoever it may be, to respond back. If you do not want to hear from that speaker, then continue with your comments.
Why are they called speakers too, by the way? Uh-oh.
I don't know. Yeah, because they're not really speakers. Well, I mean, they are kind of speakers, but they're just asking questions. So it's kind of, I don't know. Yeah, this has been asked before several times. Can we extend? Look, the budget's right around the corner too. It's probably not really going to be a shocker that MUA sale comes within the next council meeting is probably going to be municipal budget time.
Oh, didn't they already have last?
They did capital budget.
Yeah, capital budget.
But then
Okay.
The final municipal budget where we know how much of an increase we're going to be looking at. That's going to be right up on this too. So it's going to kind of be they're going to overlap. So the timing is kind of a little bit weird too. So when you get into this, where you're probably going to have, you can see 200 people in that room probably.
Yeah.
If you potentially have 200 people in that room that are going to get.
You'll get 5 minutes. 5 people will have 5 minutes to talk.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So it's. I know where you're going with it. I wouldn't have called it out, but it is something to.
At the beginning of this whole thing, before anything MUA was brought up, Council President Orlando Mercado read a statement about the sale of the MUA, and he goes back.
He references this as an answer to people's questions. So keep that in mind. You know, this might answer all of your questions that you have about this through his statement.
Probably won't, but keep it in mind.
But he'll reference it.
Before we go to the public portion, I have a statement regarding the sewer utility. So, good evening. I want to thank you for coming out this evening. There are 3 resolutions on the agenda tonight regarding the sewer utility and the possible sale of the sewer utility to a private entity. Those resolutions are: 1, a resolution to name a special conflict attorney; 2, a resolution for a request for bids; and the 3rd resolution is to send a resolution to the New Jersey State Comptroller that is needed due to the fact that any possible sale may exceed $12.5 million. The 3 resolutions enables the township to explore the possibility of selling the sewer utility to a private entity. In this format, neither council nor the mayor can unilaterally authorize the sale of the sewer utility to a private entity. The residents of Gloucester Township will determine through a referendum on the November ballot by voting yes or no whether to move forward to sell the sewer utility to a private entity. Bid specifications we put together will be put out to the open market to allow any private entity to bid on the sewer utility. Once bids are received, the bidder and the winning bid amount will be placed on the ballot in November as a referendum, and the residents of Gloucester Township will determine whether or not to proceed in selling this asset. The proceeds of the sale, any proceeds of the sale of the sewer utility must be used to reduce or retire the outstanding debt of the township. Lastly, the mayor of our township is employed by New Jersey American Water. I, along with all members of the governing body, received this past week a letter from his attorney indicating that he has a conflict and that he cannot participate and will not participate in any discussions on the sale of the sewer utility. All communications in regard to this matter will be through the Township Business Administrator, Tom Cardis, myself as Council President, and our Township Attorney, David Carlin.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the mayor has a conflict, which everybody but Mike Mignon knew about.
Right. Well, the entire council. But that night, Orlando was not there, so he did know, apparently.
That was the May 22nd meeting from 2023.
Right.
Where somebody brought it up and said, hey, the mayor works for American Water. Are you dissolving the MUA and then making it a utility under the township to eventually sell it off to American Water?
Flat out said no.
Because the mayor works for American Water? And they were like, wait, he works where? What's his title?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the one thing that I want to point out of that statement is it was 2 different times pointed out that it's deflecting the blame from them onto, it's going to be the residents are going to decide this. We didn't decide this. The residents. 2 different times, 2 different ways on there, pushing the blame onto the residents. My problem is the residents wouldn't need to make this decision if everyone up there and administration didn't bring this to put it on the ballot.
Yes.
To even make that. You are making the decision, not us. Don't blame us. This is the gaslighting that goes on all the time. No, the residents are going to decide this. At
this point in the meeting, they have not yet voted on whether or not they're going to put this up for bid.
Right.
So this is early on in the meeting, and they're just saying, look, this is on the agenda. This is what we're going to talk about. And so first public portion, they brought it up, and right after Ray Palladoro asked about extending, he also got himself some fans here by being the first guy to talk on the MUA.
Yeah. The MUA has functioned in this township for a long time. They have maintained a very reasonable bill at an average of $45 per quart. They come out at night, weekends, and all times of day and night and solve our sewage issues. And you always see them out there. They had a $6 million emergency fund that this township is constantly referred to as a surplus. They chose to use that in case of an emergency. I don't know what to say. They did with that money, but it's gone. $3 million of it's gone. So you're going to borrow money to fix what they had already saved. So basically took security net and wiped half of it. That they have always provided what Mr. Ricardo referred to a premium service, and they did provide that. So instead you dissolve them, absorb them, and now we're going to put it up for bid. Back in May, this question was asked specifically to you folks. Please tell us you're not going to solve. Bad enough. They weren't broke. I don't know what you thought needed to be fetched. That money you had to have. That being said, so now it's going to go out to sale. They're going to Aqua, Jersey American. But either way, we've already seen it had Haddonfield and Mt. Ephraim. Okay, and eventually they're going to gouge for sewage. So why not keep this MUA organization intact within the town? Keep our employees hired here in the town. And if anybody's going to gouge, why don't you guys gouge? Because if you gouge us, right back in our pocket, and not New Jersey American Water's pocket. So all that you've done is just stored something that was good. And now you're going to put it out for sale, like a fire sale. You have people here that may be out of a job.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Thank you, Mr. Palmer.
So Ray found himself some.
Yeah, he was first up there.
Ray's got some fans out there now. So. But he makes good points. I just thought of too. So we later found out that only of the $6 million that was taken from the MUA, $3 million was allowed to be used.
Mm-hmm. They
They only used $1.8 million. So they still have the remaining $1.2 million. So will that go towards this year's
I'm sure.
budget? That they break the cycle.
$1 million is not enough to what increases they're going to need. I'm sure
they still have that the other $3 million. I don't know where that goes.
Yeah, I don't know when they can touch that or how that all works, but we'll find.
But are they gonna attempt to break the cycle this year and not raise taxes, but then also throw this in so that it's not, because this is a killer for the mayor's up for re-election in 2025,
right?
And this is a complete killer for him. Like, this goes to American Water and people do a full year of like bills at $65 a month now instead of $45 a quarter. They're going to get rid of this mayor. But if he says, look, we broke the cycle, we're gonna, I don't know, that's just not.
I don't think they admit that there is a cycle. They never admit that. They say, oh, you don't have the proof of. What?
They'll never admit it, but right. There's a cycle. So
they know that, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, just listening to Ray there, and I thought about it. Now the next guy to come up here is his name's Denis Palmer, and Denis Palmer works for Does he still work there?
I don't know who he works for. Somewhere in Vineland, I think he said.
I think it's that
some kind of utility.
Landis MUA. He but Dennis is certified,
right?
So he
was on the call with the local finance board, who Tom Cordis likes to reference. That your friends and everyone on the call. No, because someone else that knows what the heck they're talking about was on that call doesn't mean that me asking a question because I'm just not one of you up there knows exactly what the heck he knows or was on the call. No, but he was one of the ones that were on the call. He knows what he's talking about. He's one of the people that we were actually going to have on to explain in a future podcast kind of what this all means, the impacts of it, some of those things here. But he got up there and talked.
Yep. So,
I should say that he got there and talk.
Hi, Denis Palmer, Raymore Avenue. My concerns are similar to someone's already talked about. The main thing we deal with private entities and taking over system, you deal with the fair market value. It's a way that you look at the system. We already paid for the system once. And when they acquire the system, we're going to pay for it again. We have a lot of people who are going to be fixed income. You just see the record, and then throughout many newspaper articles about the price of private sewer, how it's higher. Private water, it's high. Because in fact, they have to return usually about 8% to their on their stocks, the stockholders. But we just look at the history in Haddonfield. They had a level number, and it was going up. It was just in last week's paper, 50%. Around Ephraim, it's going up 45%. New Jersey America, as an example, says their average sewer bill is $65 a month. Okay, or about $180 a year.
So yeah, that's the big concern. That you've got these other municipalities that went through this process. They privatized, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what their bills were before. Well, you look at Haddonfield and Mount Ephraim. One was 40%, one was 50% increase.
Yeah, well, and that's over what their monthly rate is. That doesn't. We don't know about their frequency. Was it ours or quarterly? Right, our quarterly and our $45. If theirs are $65 monthly, you're talking like a 300% increase in this town.
Yeah, no,
versus that, so that part.
I don't know that they are $65 a month, but I've heard, but that's been the example now from several people that are under American Water and say that, our bill is $65 a month.
Right.
Which is insane. If you think about, we're paying $45 a quarter. Right. Now it's $65. Dennis brings up a couple things. I've got one more clip of what Dennis talks about too, which I thought was kind of a good take on how water is, on how sewer is, the sewer is billed based on consumption of water. Right. So this is a good point here he makes.
These private companies bill by the gallon. So and they always, many of them have a base of 5,600 gallons a month. It's 188 gallons a day. If you have kids in your house, your bill's going to be higher than the base rate. If your bill on a gallon is, you're going to pay sewer rates for your pool, your lawn, and your garden that never got into the sewer. That's not acceptable. As you go forward, it should be a flat rate.
I just was thinking as he's sitting there telling them that, what's running through each one of their heads is, we don't care what you have to say, because we already told you it's the people of Gloucester Township are going to make this decision, not us. All we're doing is voting to put it out there.
No, as much as this guy knows,
preaching to them is like, you might as well go talk to a brick wall.
This is a guy that knows. He holds the highest level certification that you can. We talked about this probably a year or two ago. Yeah. About certifications for municipal utilities. Yep. So he holds that level 4 certification. He's the guy. Like, if you want to talk to somebody about it, he's the guy. Right. And he's making these points, but that nobody's listening to. Well, that's what I'm saying.
The point, the people up there on the dais, they could care less what he has to say.
And another point that he made that I didn't clip because I didn't quite understand it at the time was,
he made the point that we've already paid for the system, and now we're going to be paying for it again. And somebody a lot smarter than me and more articulate can explain it better in the future. But the gist of it is, all of our sewer system has already been paid for. And when a new development goes in, like say they're putting in the townhomes over on by Pencotech or whatever, the sewer and all that stuff is on the onus of the people putting that development in. And then we just kind of acquire that through a gift, like they kind of call it, right? To the MUA, to now it's theirs to maintain. When you sell it to a private business, they have the right to recoup all of the costs of all of that. So you're paying a second time for that through your, what you're being billed as a monthly fee or a monthly rate or whatever it is. And that's a overview that I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I understand the gist of it, but I don't know how to explain it in full to somebody. But
apparently there are regulations that limit it, but there aren't regulations on the extra fees that they can have.
There are, yeah. They try to hide behind like, we're going to be regulated by, it's a such and such board. Yeah, well, that's such and such board. That's only like a third of the overall bill. The other part of the bill is all stuff we can just do whatever we want, add on there. But don't worry. we're regulated
Yeah.
over here by this. Okay, yeah, sure.
So, and essentially what they can do is, as they acquire more municipalities, what they'll do is, they acquire Winslow next. Basically, what they can do
Now, Gloucester
is-
Township employees or people, residents, whatever, ratepayers are paying for the infrastructure in another town. So other people who have come on prior to us, if we were to go, are going to pay, for ours.
Yeah.
And we're paying for some of it. It's an overall collective that we're all paying for everyone else's sewer systems through our rates, because they have the right to recoup that, that investment to their investors. So
I just can't get over. I can't get over that potential $65 a month compared to $45 a quarter.
yeah, that's insane. But
I mean, if that's what it comes down to, and then another guy comes up and asks about a subcommittee. And this is something that we sort of do here, but not really well. So let's take a look, see what Joe's got to say.
Hi, my name is Joe Benon. I'm from Somerdale, New Jersey. So what I wanted to talk about is, I think, fair representation.
That's funny, yeah.
Right. So you mentioned tonight the 3 resolutions. I think people would probably be more considered on their voices heard if somehow we can intertwine some additional representation into the decision process, right? So that could be an advisory committee of 4 or 5 people that can get involved with the council, that would understand the facts as they go through the process, right?
uh-oh. Well, that
Yeah.
was the gist of it. I don't know what.
Darkness fell on Joe there.
Yeah.
So his idea is a fantastic idea. It's kind of what we would call maybe like a workshop, although he talks about like a subcommittee. And we have, I mean, subcommittees, we have asked for subcommittees for years for the taxes. We've got people that work they work at accounting firms, and people that are skilled in accounting, and said, hey, let's do a subcommittee on the budget and let's talk about it. And this has been asked for years, and it never happens. So Joe's idea is a great idea, but Joe's just
the
not.
execution when we do have subcommittees, though, is a very hand-picked selection of people. So it wouldn't actually work in Gloucester Township, because that's just how it operates here.
Yeah, so the
If there was
subcommittee.
the NPP program, for instance, how many of us have raised our hands and say, yeah, we would be on the committee for down there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we actually have somebody else here that's connected to this person and that person, and everyone. There's no more room.
And if it's going to,
Hey, it's full. Wait, there was a cap to it. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
So the funny part about it is whenever there's a committee that's going to do something positive, it's usually the next 3 or 4 people that are up for election next.
Oh yeah.
That's always the way that the committees work. They go, we need to really highlight how great these 4 people are here, because they're up for election next. So
Yeah.
it's a good idea. It's a good idea that Joe had here. It's not a new idea. It's just something that we have never been able to accomplish here.
Yeah.
At least not in the way that we would like to see it. So fair representation also, I thought was kind of
It's a good line.
that was a funny moment, because that's
Even Beetlejuice thought that.
that's what we've probably been saying here for I don't know 15 years now. It's like some fair representation.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, so Anthony Calabrese he's the shop steward for the what used to be called the MUA, is now the municipal utility, I guess, which is
Yeah.
So he found out about this along with all of his coworkers through Facebook,
Through our Facebook.
and
posts.
not through any means of formal communication. And so Anthony spoke.
What's up 7 here?
Anthony Calabrese. For those who don't know me, I am the shop steward, one of the shop stewards for the employees at the Gloucester Township MUA. Tonight, I'm not just speaking for the men and women that over the past 40 plus years day in, day out, have given their time. They've worked their asses off to serve the residents. I'm also speaking for the residents tonight. A lot of the people, a lot of the employees that found out about this was from a Facebook post. And since day one of this dissolution, I think it's absolutely disgraceful. I think it's embarrassing, and I think it's an insult to everybody that has been employed there. The fact that this is the way we found out is unacceptable. You have people that bust day in, day out again for this township to make sure that this system, which is one of the biggest in New Jersey, not many people can come in, know what we do what we do the way we do it. I just, the fact that nobody's come and talked to us, we've been in the dark since day one, since finding this out. And a year ago, we asked, we've been in meetings. I was here last week, wasn't brought up at all. The fact that nobody could at least give us the decency of telling us about this is insane to me. And I just, it's insane at this point. It is absolutely insane that this is the way that this is going. No complaints. Are we perfect? No. But the way we commit to the jobs, to make sure the jobs get done, by you giving that to a private profit company is going to not only hurt the men and women that work for the MUA, but it is going to hurt every single resident of this township.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Facebook thing is a really tough thing.
He's absolutely right. It's absolutely disgraceful that that's how they handled their employees like that. They find out everything about the whole process. He said, they've been in the dark the entire time. I don't doubt it.
Yeah, I work for private companies where they pull a bunch of us in and they say, look, guys, we're going under, basically. This is what's going to happen. And it happens in the private sector. It happens. Companies just go out of business. But when you're in the public sector and things like this happen, it's going to come.
It's a choice. It's not a we have no choice because we're a private company. We have no revenue coming in. They exist off of our tax dollars, so we're not going away. So they can't go. They don't go away. So you don't think something like that's ever going to come about?
But it's going to hit a public agenda.
Right.
So at least have the decency to tell the guys, like, this is the way that we want to go, and this is why we want to go the way we want to go. Because that's to me, that's the biggest kicker here is, like, I am not I said that I watched some videos on trying to find reasons, good reasons for privatization, but I'm not a guy that wants to pay the government for many things. There are many things that I think that I should not be forced to pay the government for, right? And I've never liked the way that the government spends our money. This is the one thing that I cannot find a person to say anything negative about, right? They say, like, look, any time of the day, any weather, anything happens at your house, like the connection to the street. These guys are out there, and it doesn't cost you anything. These guys are loved.
Well, it costs you $45 a quarter. That's what it costs you.
I know. And they managed to do that and still have a $6 million surplus, right, in case something bad happens. This is the most efficient government entity
that I've ever seen
that we have in this entire area. Yeah. And
I'd rather privatize the municipal building over there than the MUA.
It's so think about one day you find out that your spouse is like, I'm going to go find somebody else, right? And I'm going to go interview a couple other potential spouses, right?
Okay, where are you going?
And when it's all over, I'm going to have my friends vote on who I pick.
Yeah.
Right?
That sounds like a reality show, like Seeking Sister Wives or something.
At what point were you mad? Right? Because you're like, have I done anything wrong? And they go, no, you're great. But
so it's my duty to do this.
But look, you're 40. I don't want to see what else is out there. You shop at Target. Yeah, I see what else is out there. Yeah, and then at what point are you mad because their friends were like, well, you should go to that guy over there because
Yeah.
or are you mad because you ever got to the point where you're like, maybe I do want to see what else is out there. Like that's the point of deception right there.
Yeah.
Like the point where council is like, we just want to see what else is out there.
It's
Like
actually our
that's-
duty to
like-
do this. We have to do this.
Yeah, and then they come in and they feed it to you as like this is our duty to go see what it is.
Well, if it's their duty, then it's also that they also have to balance a budget every year, right? And they said that any proceeds from this need to go to paying off debt. So I don't know if this is in our clips here later on, but it was brought up about you guys are the ones that vote on our debt and you put us in debt here over, and they're like, yeah, over the last 20 years. Well, I'm pretty sure the person that said, yeah, over the last 20 years was also on council for over 20 years.
No, they said 30. He
said 30?
He said 30 because he's only been here for 20.
Okay, that's what it was. Well,
So
either
he
way.
wanted to make it sound like, all the debt came in the first 10 years before I was here.
But if the sale goes through, it goes to clearing out debt. So it's basically they get a clean slate to start over and look like heroes. At the expense of us to pay for the utilities. Is that just going to give them a right to go and now we're going to put pickleball courts on every single on every park that we have here.
One of the funniest parts was after the meeting, and Sam was talking to one of the union reps there. And he was thinking about the debt of the township, not knowing what the actual number of the debt of the township. And he was like, well, if they sell this thing for $12 million, I bet at least 6 of that is probably is probably held up in debt. It's probably that 6 of that is probably
Who's that,
already
the union?
spent. Yeah, the union guy. And Sam
Well,
goes,
it's 70 million. Or
Sam goes, that's like 70 million, not 6 million.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So yeah, that kind of blew them away there. That look, we're $70 million in debt.
Yeah,
and
it's not 12 million either. It's they have to put it to a referendum because it could potentially be more than 12 million. That's where that 12 million figure keeps coming from. That people keep saying they're trying to get 12 million for it.
Yeah, and what I
thought the same thing too until I understood what he was saying about that whole process.
What I'm afraid of is that it winds up on a ballot and worded in some way that says, that the township could potentially receive $20 million in funds towards their debt, and people are going to go, wow, we could really use $20 million,
right?
Not knowing that we're $70 million in debt, and that $20 million is not going to do anything for us, really.
Yeah.
Except and I don't know that they can just take that and from what we learned before, like you can't just take that $20 million and then just pay off.
Right. Well, we've been preached that from Tom Cardis over the years that you can't just do
because
this,
they're long-term bonds, so you can't
just pay it off. So what?
That $20 million is just going to go towards the next several years.
Yeah, I really do. I'm glad you brought that up because I thought that same thing too. About wait a minute. Haven't you been telling us all this time that we can't pay that down with?
I mean, we could be wrong, but we're only wrong because that's what we've been told.
Right.
So, I mean, that
teacher was Beetlejuice. This is how. Where do you see?
So
I can't find it here.
So it's
which one is it?
Which one are you looking for?
Yeah, this is how we were taught here.
Nah, I'm going on a cruise,
Where you going?
Yeah, I'm taking her on a cruise.
Where are you going to go? I mean, where are you visiting on the cruise?
Well, it's going to be on a boat.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
Going?
Where's the boat go?
Well, the boat's going to be in the water.
All right.
See, you thought he didn't know.
I thought he knew. I knew you knew.
All right, we're back to the minute. Yeah, that's how the guy that we learned from talks.
Yeah, so yeah.
We could be wrong. I don't know.
So when we think back to this now, we think, well, man, this sounds really familiar. I feel like we've talked about this last year, and in fact, we talked about this definitely on May 22nd, 2023, when this was all brought up. People said, "Hey, wait, we're touching the MUA here, and our mayor works for American Water." And then you put a clip out a couple days ago,
about a week or so ago,
where nobody knew that the mayor worked for American Water, but Denise goes back to ask some questions about May 22nd. So the clip starts off basically with, I believe the clip starts off in May 22nd and then kind of ties it all in together here.
Yeah, clip 8.
Our mayor holds a position with New Jersey American Water, and his position is
Oh, the date's wrong.
Director of
May
Government
22nd,
Affairs
2023.
and Business Development. So a natural question would be, is there any plans in the works after this dissolution and merger because of the mayor's ties to New Jersey American Water, who does privatize utilities like this, that's part of their business model. Is there any discussion or plans or longer term plan to do that?
Not made aware of anybody else.
There has been preserved, this preserved it in the town. If that was.
For today,
That would have been,
yeah.
right?
That has not been discussed. We didn't discuss.
Yeah.
You know, sir, can you repeat it, the title again that you?
This is from the mayor's financial disclosure form that's required by law as his position. The title is New Jersey American Water is the name of the company. It's a
Okay, he does.
utility company.
I don't know this title.
The position is Director of Government Affairs and Business Development, which sounds like looking for privatization deals in corporate speak.
But this clearly shows that that's not. That's.
Well, it says today, that's not what's happening. Is this a precursor step?
But it wasn't. This was. Sorry, I mean, it sounds like you're trying to create.
No, it's a natural question based on his position. It's a rational question based on his position.
Some people have done this.
Okay, so how did we get from May 22nd to here?
Did I say that we were not still on May 22nd? I was not at that.
Yes.
Council
I
said,
was not at that.
council
He did.
said,
My face.
you're part of council. Council said,
Can we not have any shouting out from the audience, please? Yes. Council said,
yes.
So I wonder, and it's a really big stretch, right? Way back in May 22nd, Mercado is not here. Somehow during this meeting, he knew at the moment that it was brought up. I wasn't there at that meeting.
Well,
And
he
then-
loves hawking social media. And he knows that I put that post out there saying that they don't know.
I
He
know,
knows that
yes.
that was him, and that's how he could recollect that. But
But then Dan, who got the promotion basically to assembly, so that he can lie to more than Gloucester Township.
Right.
Dan's the fall guy here, saying, this move preserves it for the town.
Yeah,
This preserves it for the town.
at least the next 11 months.
Yeah,
10 months.
at least until I'm gone and on to lying to more people. It preserves it.
Man.
So yes, man. So the next thing here is, I guess to get away from this a little bit, there was a little ordinance passed here about storing trailers.
Ordinance 0-24-05, ordinance of the Township of Gloucester County, Camden, State of New Jersey, adopting prohibited uses to the land development ordinance. What this does is amend section 401K of the general regulations to add the following: that parking and overnight parking and storage of semi-trailer trucks, tractor units, and semi-trailers, except when associated with the operation of permitted use, and storage of material and semi-trailers or temporary trailers, except during loading, unloading associated with the operation of a permitted use.
I'm kind of surprised you cut that clip and played it on that. Here.
I don't even know. I didn't want it to be all MUA.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Got it.
So, yeah, don't park your trailers here in town without permitted use. We can probably go into that. We'll probably go into some more of the parking thing in the Inside Township Talk podcast.
Yeah.
That'll come up later on because we got some clips on that. There's some changes made on that too. Also, zoning maps were approved and updated. There's a ton of different zoning changes they made.
Yeah. So that was all previous history. It's not like they made changes to future things. It's all things that have already been discussed and voted on and things like that. So they updated that. However, being as this is being recorded now and the agenda is out for the upcoming meeting, what's interesting, somebody had pointed out that they have more MUA stuff on there, but that's because now it's a township thing, not an MUA thing. It probably would have been on an MUA agenda for one of their meetings. But their property that is zoned commercial, we're now voting on spending money on sewers for additional housing going in on a commercial property. But it hasn't been that any of us know that looked into it to see when did that actually get approved that to become housing and, you know, high density housing, and it wasn't. So I'm not sure if that zoning map, maybe there was other things slipped in there. It wouldn't be the first time that they slipped in changes to zoning that you know, people didn't catch, and it was just, oh yeah, well we did, yeah, we approved that back in you know, whatever. So it is possible that changed, but either way, I know it kind of sidetracked that. But
yeah, so finally we get to the vote for the whether or not we're going to put whether or not we're going to put this thing up for sale. Whether or not the township's going to go out hunting for new suitors, basically.
Yeah.
So here is the vote.
Resolution 113, resolution of the Township Council of Gloucester authorizing issuance of requests for the bids for sale of wastewater collection and conveyance system.
May I have a motion?
Make that motion.
Is there a second? On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Vignon.
Yes.
Mrs. Albright. Troxel. Yes. Mrs. Grace Love. Yes. Mr. Nash.
Yes.
Mrs. Walters. Yes. Mrs. Winters. Yes. Mr. Mercado.
Yes.
Unanimous. Everyone.
Unanimous. Nothing else to say. Yes.
Yep. Remember that.
We're going to go find new people.
Yep.
See what they have to offer. So, if this doesn't go through in November, I just wonder, like, if it, like the township guys, you know, a week after election day in November, if it doesn't go through and the people do the right thing, how are they gonna feel? You know?
Well, I'm curious. I don't know if they have to. Is it that they have to follow what the people said in that?
Yeah.
You're sure?
Why else? Yeah. Why else would it wouldn't? I mean, what else would it be in the ballot?
Well, because you still have to make the sale. Like, so I don't know. Isn't that? I thought that was part of how, like, we're voting to see who wants this, to know should we do this kind of thing. Like, I don't know that this is writing the law that, or the sale. This isn't like at the closing table. You know what I mean? Like, if it goes through, if it doesn't pass, and the people say in whatever the wording is on that we would like to keep the MUA in house. Does that mean that the council can't, and administration can't? All right, I know people don't want to, but we have to. Sorry guys, we're in a bad situation, and go and sell it.
No, I think it was because I don't know if it was because of the amount of money or
that's because the amount of money has to go on the ballot. But does that mean that they have to actually go through it? Like, so say when marijuana was on the ballot, it was on the back of the the ballot that one year. I don't know what year that was, but that didn't right then and there on election day make it legal. They had to then take that and make legislation around that people wanted that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is this the same with this? Like, could they be doing this whole big dog and pony show, putting it on the ballot? People vote it down, and they're still like, oh well, it's still still something we're gonna do.
Man, that'd be dirty. I don't think it's possible. I don't know.
Yeah, it could not be. I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, look, by time, so this will go on the
This
November ballot. Yeah, and there's really nobody up for re-election other than Helen Albright Troxel,
who just voted yes.
We just voted yes, and they all voted yes. Because she is filling the unexpired term of Dan Hutchinson.
Yeah, who said this is to preserve this in the town.
So she's holding his term until the next election. So that there will be a special election in November on a normal election day to find somebody to fill that term for 1 year until Dan's term was up in 2025. So they don't have they won't take a big hit because of this year. If people are really angry about this and say people vote no for it, and the next year they decide find some other way to do it, I doubt that they will, because 2025 is the mayor and 3 council seats.
Yeah.
So I doubt they'll make that move on it. But just so you know, when 71% of you folks stayed home last election and didn't vote, right?
Yep.
So if politics aren't your thing, paying for sewage,
utility bills should
possibly be your thing.
Yeah.
While you're there, don't vote for Helen.
Yeah, vote the opposition.
If you say no, this is a bad idea, don't vote for the lady that says it's a good idea. Right? Just my thought.
No. All right, so you have a couple e-gov questions came in.
Got some e-govs come in. So people asked. I was going to cut this down to I was going to just summarize, but people asked some really good questions. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy to see some of these names that I've never seen before ask some really good questions.
Our next PTE eGov access email is from Sandra Barry Rogers of 8 Noble Road, Erie. If you sell the anyway, who will be doing the normal service that the residents are used to being done and free? Why is it necessary to sell the sewer plant? Will we still get a bill from the NUA, or the new owner will be able to up our stable rates? I do not see a reason for the sale of the NUA other than a potential of lining someone's pocket. My statement at the beginning addresses comments regarding the service. Those are things that, if the sale does go through, that as we lead up to, we'll have more information.
All right. So yeah, it was mentioned. There's been a lot of mention for people of all the services that they provide for free, basically, for $45 a quarter. That will no longer take place, as far as we know. At least it doesn't take. At least that doesn't happen in other towns.
We should go do like interviews in other towns of like people that have those services. Like go to a park one day or something like that, or somewhere, and bring our man on the street camera. And be like, if your sewer backed up, would you be able to call the American Water and have them come out?
Yeah, I had to call
plumber. Cost me $800 or whatever. They told me actually my whole line needed to be replaced, and I'm 20,000 into it now.
Yeah, there were some great examples of like, hey, if the line from your house to the street has to be redone, apparently these guys were doing that, but it could be a $20,000 job. So, yeah, it's a kind of a big deal. And like I said, I watched a lot of videos. I talked to some people. I can't find any good reasons.
Yeah, I don't know if they were doing those $20,000 jobs, but I think maybe they were helping, like, just snake it that, in that direction. If they go down the street,
yeah, they're probably
can help you snake that out.
Putting in complete new lines, but they're probably fixing the actual problem. Maybe putting a Band-Aid on it for the person so they can get by for a little bit.
Yeah,
and so the person isn't all of a sudden just, I got to put $20,000 out today.
Either way.
And then, so the next email to come in.
Look from a familiar name here, though.
Dawn Sabella, my former running mate in 2021. Hopefully, we'll get her back on a ballot one day with somebody. But she was a great running mate, and glad to see that she's participating here.
The next EGOT is from Dawn Sabella at 1061 Shoes Lane Road. I'm sure there will be several people in attendance who, like me, are very curious about the sudden decision to sell our sewer and water management system to an outside company. What changed? Why were we told absorbing the NUA was the best decision for the residents? Now we're selling off the responsibility we so hastily took on. Considering the township slogan, a great place to live, work, and play, can you guarantee that the current NUA employees will retain their jobs and be able to keep working, including current titles, responsibilities, and salary? What protections we put in place to ensure the residents of Gloucester Township will not have increased bills? What protections we put to ensure the same service, including after-hour support, are still available for residents of Gloucester Township. Forgive me if it was mentioned, but I do not recall clarity about the $6 million the township gained when we took over the MUA. Was there a final decision on keeping those funds in escrow for any major sewer line repairs and maintenance? If not, why and where would the funds be applied instead? I see the township anticipates the sale of the sewer and water management system to be over $12.5 million. How will those funds be applied? If undetermined at this time, what are the reasons for the uncertainty? That last portion, any proceeds must, by law, pay off, retire the debt or reduce the debt of the municipality. In regards to protections in place about increased bills, service, and employees, those are things as we go along and put together a bid spec, Mr. Carson, correct me if I'm wrong, or something that we could put in the bid specification and have a discussion. Okay, thank you.
I don't know where this came from. I really don't know where this. I mean,
Well, he didn't answer any of our questions, first of all.
No, he didn't. But you said, look, we'll find out. Well, there has to be some reason for me to just say, I want to look at other options.
Right.
I mean, like we covered it. There's so far that we know, there's never been anything wrong with the systems that we have. There's never been anything wrong with the service that we have. There's nothing wrong with the price that we have. And then people are asking all these questions. They go, well, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Okay. But we didn't have anything bad. Like, if we were in really bad shape and we had to go look for somewhere else, okay, it's fine that we don't know what else is out there because we got to get out of a really bad situation. Like when all of a sudden you don't have an ambulance squad anymore. And you're like, crap, we got to go find an ambulance now, like this weekend.
Right.
Right? You don't know what's going to happen, but you know you got a need.
Right.
We don't have a need right now. So
Right, and that's what Ray started off the entire meeting with. Say it wasn't broken. You're breaking something that wasn't broken. You're trying to fix something that wasn't broken. And Dawn asked the question very well, I thought. She said, you just told us that it was in the best interest of the residents to take over the MUA and dissolve it. Right? And now, not even a year later, this is needing to be an option. What happened there? They never answered that question. Why it was the best option for the town to dissolve it? We never got that answer.
Nope.
And now they're going to sit up there and not give us an answer of why.
Enormous savings.
Oh yeah, we hope for enormous. Savings.
And enormous savings that we'll never see now because they're selling it off. So, and then next email in, Christy Donati wants to know. Let's hear from her.
Next from Christy Donati from 903 Cummings Avenue. I know others may also ask this question, but please explain the benefit to residents of selling the MUA to a third party. I am confused how this is working and why this is a necessary move. Bottom line, no action should be taken that will not have a direct benefit for the residents. I'm going to refer to my statement I made on the sewer utility at the beginning of the meeting.
Statement that he made at the beginning had nothing to do with what benefit this is for the town. And those people sitting up there, their entire job is to make decisions on what will benefit the township.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that the goal here is to look into what could, hey, maybe American Water comes back and says, look, it's going to be $10 a quarter for the next 40 years. Okay, there's a benefit. But that's impossible, right? It's impossible. They have shareholders. They need to make money. They're a for-profit company.
This isn't the first one ever to happen. This has happened all over.
No, this has happened all over. In fact, the 2 hours that I spent today researching videos, I was watching videos from like England,
right,
where they're going through the same process because they did this. They did privatization way long before the United States did it. And
that's a disaster, and they're taking them back.
They're taking them back.
Right.
Yes, they're taking them back. So, yeah, that is... And
what we do typically, a lot of times you can tell someone else did this thing, right? Or some way to get money to be sneaky or whatever else, and then we copy it. Whether it's us starting it and someone else copies it or someone else does it and then we copy it. This happens all the time. So this was somebody somewhere maybe somebody that works there, I don't know, saw how this is, oh wow, you know what, this could benefit us if we do this here. We could pose it as, look, we'll let the people decide. They don't come out to vote anyway. I'm sure we can get enough of our people to vote this, this way here, or whatever the case is, but it's usually a monkey see, monkey do. There's not a lot of original thoughts in people's heads, in that they've seen it somewhere else and they're mimicking.
Go back to some of those figures in our intro,
right?
With the pin board.
Yeah.
There's some faces in there that probably know some other people that did this.
Yeah.
And they want a part of it. So
we're not just navigating new waters here. This is these waters have been navigated well before. We're like when the people are saying, "Oh, how did this come on so suddenly?" Suddenly, this has been in the back doors, for a while. They've been navigating to this point, and then we're like, "All right, from this point on, Dave Mayer is not talking to anybody. We have a letter from his attorney. He has a conflict." No crap. We knew that before the solution.
Yeah, as if. Look at now this thing might go through, and at the end of the year, there's not going to be anything publicly that says, "Hey, we're going to give Dave Mayer an additional $20 million on his."
It's a private company.
But at the end of the year, when it's bonus time, and Dave Mayer gets a $1 million bonus at the end of the year, and for some reason this year Dave Mayer gets a $10 million bonus at the end of the year. I wonder why. Don't know. So we'll never know. We'll never know.
Yeah.
He's not involved, although maybe the guy that sits in the spot next to him is involved. Who knows? But somebody else asked the question about, hey, all these repairs that they do, who's going to do them now?
And last, Melissa Witt from 18 Danbury Drive. If the existing system costs an average of $45 per quarter per household and generated a $6 million surplus for the emergency sewer repairs, then why are we switching providers when we'll end up costing more to each household, and then the burden of any emergency repairs also falls back on those same households? 2, you're basically asking the households to double pay for any emergency repairs, since they've already paid a surplus of $6 million for that very purpose. That purpose should not be used for anything else. How can you justify stealing those funds away from their intended purpose rather than funding it equitably to each contributing household? What initiated this proposal to switch to American Water? Are there any board members or government officials who have any type of business dealings or relationships with American Water? If the answer is yes, how do you justify these actions when it is clear that it's not in the best interest of the people living in this county? So let me be clear again. There is no conversations with any of the utilities. There are 4 major water utilities in the state of New Jersey that purchase municipal authorities or utilities. And there have been no conversations with them.
Yeah.
The mayor is not involved with this, as I indicated earlier. He cannot be part of it. He has a conflict.
Oh, please.
So yeah, there's take that into consideration too. Of that $45 a quarter that you've been paying, they have accumulated $6 million, which was then, you were happy putting aside, because who wants increases if something bad happens, right?
Right.
You're putting it aside, and the township just came and stole that money.
Yep.
So.
All right.
So Denise Coyne asked about a previous meeting. And if you recall the previous meeting, there was the big controversy about the previous meeting was that the agenda was not posted. It was not posted until Monday.
I think it was 2 meetings ago that happened. Maybe not, but either way, yeah. So that she was told, well, Dina went up there during that meeting and was told by Calabrese to email the clerk with specific questions that they had around this that he would look into, because he didn't know the answers to it. So Denise did it. Denise emailed the clerk, because I guess the two of those, people spoke, and then, Denise is the one that emailed it in. So Calabrese, I believe this clip here is him saying,
No clip.
Oh, there's no clip.
His clip was like 20 minutes long of him
Okay.
just rambling on.
Yeah, he gave us another one of these. Where is it at here?
He gave us.
I'm very disappointed. I'm getting word salad here, and I don't even have dressing on it.
So he went through and talked, and essentially what he said was, "I don't have an email from."
He said, I didn't respond because I have no email sent to me from Denise Coyne.
Right, because it was sent to the clerk.
Right, because you specifically said to send it to the clerk, so you have it because Denise has the forward email to Carla Mayer, so Denise knows he has it. However, he's also not lying because he's a lawyer, right? And he stated, I have no email from Denise Coyne in my inbox for that, so I didn't answer it. Well, you don't. You're correct. You have one from the clerk who you asked her to send to, and then she forwarded it to me. But you can sit up there and lie and say that you don't have anything from.
Yeah,
Denise
he
Coyne.
said the same
It's a
thing
technicality
to Dina about not having anything,
right?
About not resending something, and she basically said, "I didn't know that it was my job to do your job for you." So
right.
That's why I didn't send it back again. So,
that was a good line she said.
What it comes down to, though, as far as the agenda goes on the website, it's not a legal requirement for the township to put the agenda on our website. They need to send it out. They need to send it out to 2 newspapers. Whether or not those 2 newspapers publish it, that's on the newspapers. The only requirement that the township has, other than sending it to the media, is to post it publicly. The problem here is they post it publicly on the bulletin board in the clerk's office on Thursday, right before they close
on Friday.
For the weekend. They're closed on Friday.
So Monday morning.
So they post it on the board on Thursday, shut the lights off, go home, and then Monday morning is your first chance really to look at it, unless you're right there on Thursday when they post it. So there's not 48 hours notice, unless you're the clerk and you post it on the wall, or if you happen to be hanging out in the clerk's office, hopefully not with a camera, because that pisses everybody off.
Oh yeah. That's
so that's what happened there. On to that, we went on to the second public portion. First speaker, I believe his name was David Brown. He'd been up there. He's been in a couple council meetings.
Yeah, we've had his clips on the podcast before about Mulberry Station Playground. He comes basically every year looking, what's going on with this playground.
I think he started coming to this. I think he started asking for. Well, in fact, I know he started asking for a playground
because his child was little
7 years ago,
right? And
his child, because it was dangerous, and he wanted his child to play on the thing. Well, his child drives now,
right?
So, but he got
fixed this year, so he wanted to thank him.
He wanted to say, outstanding job with that playground that I asked for 7 years ago. My kid doesn't play on playgrounds anymore.
Yeah.
He just graduated high school. So it was a positive and a negative at the same time there. So and next up is Sam Sweet.
Yeah, so he had asked a question because the eGov, those ones where you're able to send a question into government ahead of time for them to read, the order on the agenda where they fall, if you had a question about something that was on the agenda, it doesn't get asked. And Sam's been, hounding them about this for a while, and rightfully so. I mean, if you're able to ask a question, why can't you ask it before the vote is made? So his point in this clip here was that
eGov is great for this too.
What's that?
Like eGov is great for this. eGov, you can put together a really thought out question that makes a lot of sense and could possibly make people think. It's a little bit hard when you walk up to a microphone and do this. So you can do this really well over eGov. And what Sam is saying is these eGov questions, if they're pertaining to something you're going to vote on, please read them before you vote on them.
Right. And Council President has said before in his own words, and if I need to pull the clip, I'll go find it. I have no problem doing that. Where he says, if there are eGov that are pertaining to an item on the agenda, I will pull it and read it before the vote happens. Didn't happen this time. you got them after the vote had taken place.
Yeah. So this next clip I kind of cut up a little bit to kind of save some time and to kind of put.
Good evening, Council. Sam Sweet from Ariel. I've stood up here a couple times and asked about the EGOV questions. You said that if the EGOV questions pertain to the agenda items, that you would consider reading them before the agenda items. You read 3 EGOV questions regarding MUA prior to that. So are we not looking at that anymore? Because those 3 questions maybe might have influenced council to change their mind.
You asked me to consider it.
Yeah, so are we not considering it anymore?
I read them. I had a statement on it. I believe that they addressed some of the questions that was in.
But you should have read those questions before, because those people couldn't make the meeting and had questions on the actual agenda. So why were they not read beforehand? I understand that, but why is the EGOV? I've specifically
asked me to consider it.
And are you not considering it, or you? So you're not considering it?
I read them and I responded.
Okay. It's no secret that I've applied for council several times. All right, I've run for council, and I've been denied on that because I've been told that I'm not a good foxhole guy. So just keep that in mind to the council members here. They consider you foxhole guys, and essentially because you're voting the way they want you to vote, not the way the people here or the voters want you to vote, or even in their best interests. And there's another word for foxhole guys. It's called puppets. Keep that in mind. Thank you.
Yeah, so he's so we got a lot of foxhole guys up there.
Yeah, we had this conversation on the podcast with him before about that statement, the foxhole.
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up with it. That was good.
And it's true. You know, the thought of, look, somebody could raise a really good question over EGOV that could sway a council member to think differently. And the truth is, they're not going to think differently. That's not why they were. That's not why they were picked. These aren't people that said, "Hey, I want to make a difference." These are people that were approached and said,
"What would you be like in a foxhole with me?"
Yeah. Hey, you want to come vote yes on everything? So it's
we can get you a nameplate and get your little nameplate. We'll get you a second recycle bin too. You know,
we'll get you another recycle.
We'll get you a recycle bin. You know.
So yeah, that was it. There's a closing statements here. So they
went into an executive session.
They went into an executive session after this, and I think the place pretty much cleared out.
Yeah,
I know.
I stayed there because there was a couple of we were having conversations in the back, not realizing like they would be back out fairly quickly, and they did come out, and there was a bunch of MUA guys still there. Some of obviously the police were still there, but yeah. So there was a statement during the closing that you clipped on this here, right?
Yeah, from the only other guy that actually knows how to use a microphone too, which is one of the things that stood out because it's just there's. And you know, I should have taken clips earlier too, because there was a section where somebody yelled out,
"Oh, from the audience,
use the microphone!" Yeah, and it was actually a former council member from.
Oh yeah, Shelley.
Yeah, I think. Forgive me if I'm way off. I think she was a council member in the 90s, right? But
I'm not sure when.
You know, somebody familiar with how this all works, and she's yelling from the back. Use the microphones. So there's like 2 guys that know how to use the microphones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's the council president, and then there's Jim Nash, who knows how to use the microphone now. But so Jim's got some comments on his vote.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clear a couple of things up. Sam, you brought up as well. All of us here are pro MUA, no doubt about it. Yeah. But it is our job to do our due diligence for the entire population of Gloucester Township. It is our job. So what we voted on tonight was just to explore the idea, to see what the options are. It's not about just 30 people here. It's about the entire population of Gloucester Township. Whether it's popular or not, whether we agree or not, our job is to be non-biased and to bring it to the public so that the public can decide. Whether I agree, whether I think it should be on a ballot, doesn't really matter. What matters is we got to present it to the people of Gloucester Township. That's how government works.
That's
That's not how it works.
But okay.
Look, you're an elected official. You are elected because the people in Gloucester Township felt like you were a good decision maker for Gloucester Township, a good representative of them. If you looked at the MUA and knowing everything you know about the MUA and everything that we've all been led to believe that these guys they run a tight ship here, they do things really well, they've got a $6 million surplus, they got a safety, and everything checks out, right? So in your job is to do everything in the best interest of Gloucester Township. So
you can, without putting it on a vote, on an agenda, without putting it on a referendum as a referendum, you can use Google and you can go do what we've done and try to find what are the positives for this.
Yeah,
that's the decision that you all should have made up there. Not we're going to let the people decide on us. No, it doesn't have to get to that even point. Is what I said earlier today. You could have Googled all those, Google those things and see, should we put this on there? Nah, maybe not. Somebody wants this on there, and that's why it's on there. There's no two ways about it. You didn't just wake up one day and be like, the people need to make the decision. If that, you know what I mean? There's an intentional reason that it's on the agenda.
And the people here, let's face it, the people here aren't good at making decisions, right? 71% of them stay home when it's decision making time, and then the people that show up, like I'm not under this disillusion here that the people that voted against these folks knew why they were voting against them. I know some did. I know some were like, I'm tired of this crap, but some of them just were like, I don't like them because they're Democrats. And the same thing with the other way around. Like, there's not a lot of, what do we have? 14,000 people show up. Yeah, out of 14,000 people roughly that showed up last election, I don't know the 14,000 of them knew exactly what they were voting for. Certainly the other 71% didn't vote at all. So putting it in the people's hands that don't pay attention, that are probably going to show up, they're going to show up this year, right? Because you've got,
I like the shade he threw out with it's not just the 30 people that are here. Oh, really? Is that it? The 30 people that are here? That's the only people that are against this?
It's
okay.
Look,
I hope we're they're wrong.
This year's a huge election this year.
Yeah.
Outside of Gloucester Township, we're voting for president this year.
Oh, right? President this year? Yeah, that's right. It is.
It all happy.
No, I really, yeah.
Right. Three big name candidates. They got three big name candidates on the election on in this election.
Governor?
No, governor's 25. There's already flyers coming out for 25, but in 24, you got a presidential election, very controversial. And every candidate here has got some major controversy on them. People are going to come out, right? People are going to be opinionated. Even the people that don't pay attention, like they've heard something on the news that triggered them, and they're going to come out and they're going to vote for something. So people are going to show up. And the last thing you want them to do is just go, hey, fuck, $20 million for the township. I'll take that. And hit yes, right? Because they don't know not realizing what's going to happen. Look, it's you are you're the guy that we picked. You're not the guy that I voted for, but you're the guy that some people voted for that say, you're going to make the good decisions for us. And look, folks, 7 of you didn't make good decisions for us. And
this topic isn't going away. You guys will probably be hearing us talk about the MUA quite often in the coming weeks. So
yeah, if we can get some of these folks
we're going to get some other people a lot smarter than ourselves. That's probably not hard to do, but we're going to get some other people a lot smarter than on this MUA stuff to come explain some of it. Try to put together like a town hall type of a thing where we can get people out in the public to come learn about what it is, and hopefully these clips are able to be played and shared by you guys. So make sure you subscribe to our podcast here. Make sure you hit the notification buttons to get notifications, and we'll get do our best to try to help educate people on what this actually all means, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we will we'll see everybody. We'll see everybody again. Man, we got actually. This is going to air. So this is going to air.
Yeah,
on,
we'll have like 2 weeks, 2 in a row almost, basically, right?
Well, this is going to air on Monday.
Yeah.
So the day that this airs on Monday, the what? The
8th.
The 8th.
The eclipse day.
There'll be probably the end of the world. We will have to pay for the MUA. So the night of the 8th is the next council meeting, right?
Yep. Come on out. We'll see you there.
Man, I gotta go to another council meeting, I guess. All right, folks. We'll see you
All right,
on
guys.
the 8th.